What's up, hungry homie? Sorry for the delay. This week has been terrible. I have been in a lot of pain, and I'll explain more of that later in the video. But it's my back, it's my hamstring, it's all of it. But that's okay. So we're at the gym relatively early because I do have to work today, and I'm early because I had to take a cab, so I had to make sure I could get here because my car's in the shop yet again. So let's make sure we send good vibes. So I'm going to get this done like nothing is falling apart around me and my world isn't on fire when it is. So let's get back to it. Cardillo, you can sponsor me at any time. Back pull downs. Try to focus on, if you want width, don't drive your elbows back, because that's going to be thickness. So if you're doing it, trying to keep your elbows forward more rather than back. So pulling down forward to help with width rather than back, which is thick. See a lot of people doing like wild like reefs on it, and it's like you could just do a seated row and get the same effect without looking like you're swinging like a baboon. As long as you put it back, it's fair game. So what I'm doing here is, because we don't have like plate loaded hammer strength pull downs, I do it with a cable. So I just try to mimic the movement of the muscle as much as possible. So I find with the dual cables and an incline, I can do something similar. So. What's up, Hungry Homies? Just back again from the gym and just going to walk on my treadmill as I talk to you a little bit about why my week has been so challenging. And I will say it's been the most challenging because of the injury that I'm going through right now. So I went to a doctor, chiropractic doctor of chiropractics, and he actually has an x-ray machine in his office. It's nice. He has an x-ray machine in his office, which I definitely needed to have images taken of my back because I have no idea what is going on. And I really just wanted to rule out any sort of disc injury or issue with my discs. So I did that. And the problem with healthcare here is, sure, it's universal, but I don't have a family doctor. So in the new province that I'm in now. And so unfortunately, you get on a list and there are not enough doctors anyway. So I'm likely never going to have a family doctor in this province. So rather than going and buggering up the emergency room in the hospitals, I have to go and pay for some sort of imaging. So that's the downside to this whole universal healthcare thing. There's no guarantee. Um, Anywho, I went to go see this doctor through a referral from my RMT, and what we discovered with imaging is that I have a sacroiliac joint issue. So there's rubbing happening, and it's creating some inflammation. And since that's kind of down in my kind of like my butt crack region, so is my sit bone, and my sit bone is where your hamstring attaches to. And so that has been exacerbated by really tight sacroiliac joints. But what was nice is that we did rule out any disc issues, any hip issues. My discs are nice and squishy, and there's nice space between each of them. So that's good. He was very understanding in the sport that I compete in, and didn't say to stop anything. He just said don't add anything extra. So I can do that. That's fine. Along with some continue my RMT, continue Chiro, continue acupuncture. I just purchased a heat seems to be helpful. So I just purchased a really good back heating electric heat pad for my back. So I will use that regularly. Unfortunately, the worst part about this injury is that sitting is really the only thing that aggravates it. Especially when I've been seated for a while and then I go to stand, it cripples me in my hamstring. So yeah, so the compression on the proximal part of my hamstrings, the part closest to my sit bone, that's the part that's getting crushed when I sit, and that's the part that's irritated. So it's like a tendinopathy, so like a tendinitis of some sort in that area. So that's been just, it's really defeating, I will say. I have a smile on my face, but it's very painful, and I don't get a lot of relief. Yeah, so this has kind of been going on since, I would say, probably October, and we're now in April. So yeah, so still trying to work on that and just find solutions to make it manageable, because it will be a long time before it is actually completely solved. So quick education: the sacroiliac joint, sacrum and iliac crest, which is the iliac crest is your hip bone. So the pointy part, can't see it on me, but on the pointy part of your hip, kind of like where your hips go like this at the top of the butterfly, that's the iliac crest. So we have the iliac crest, each of these, and then your sacrum sits in kind of this V part. And right in here, the coccyx is your tailbone. So in this joint in here, where my sacrum and my iliac crest connect, it's a really shallow joint. So they mostly just kind of like sit inside each other. Not a lot of movement happens. It's mostly when you're walking. So your sacrum kind of sits still. And then as your hips move, they kind of like not glide, but they just kind of like work against each other right there. So that part on my right side is very painful. So it is a little crunchy, and it's actually pulling on my hamstring tendon, which is this guy right here. You can see. So as this grinds, this pulls and makes this portion very painful. So this guy right in the muscle belly in the back of my hamstring is what's extremely tight. So it's pulling on some other things too. It's pulling on my knee a little bit. That's a little bit more manageable, but mostly the sitting part is the really painful part. Here's a little closer drawing. Bear with me. I am not an artist. So we have our spine. This is our sacrum, okay? And these were all the nerves shoot out. That little dot's your tailbone. Okay, and then we have our iliac crest, kind of like a little butterfly, and our sit bone. So the ischiums are down here. So right in here, this is my ouchie spot. See? So this ouchie spot right here is pulling down here, and my hamstring is very ouchy right there. Okay, so what I'm doing with my chiropractors and all of my practitioners takes a freaking village, man. takes a village. So what we're working on is decompressing in this area. So I go on like a traction bed and we're basically just pulling apart that spot to relieve some of that grinding that's happening, and then ideally loosening up that whole joint. So what I'm going to show you is a picture of my x-ray. So what my x-ray actually shows is that my this is my right, this is my left. My hips are like seated like this a little bit more. So they're not even. And that's also creating issues in that joint, in that hamstring. And voila, we have answers. Now that you have a full understanding of what I'm going through right now with my hamstring, diagrams and all, I hope that you continue to watch, and I hope that you are liking what you're watching. So please continue to follow along. Please like all my videos. Please subscribe, first and foremost. It's free. I'm just giving my life away right now. So do me the favor and just subscribe. That's all I ask. Comment every so often. Keep the algorithm going in my favor. And I'll see you on the flippity flop. Bye, homies.